A kangaroo jump, a backward roll, and several contortions with her body while lying down or crawling on the floor. It's not necessary to be a breakdancing expert to notice the limitations of Rachel Gunn, who performs under the nickname Raygun. At 36 years old, she competed 3 times during the Paris Olympics and lost all matches with 0 points scored. But there is more into this story. Was it just a worldwide Olympic fiasco or a fraudulent scheme for propaganda? Many of the moves showcased by Raygun during her performances are what one would expect from a 35-year-old woman who practices breakdancing for fun on weekends. Raygun imitated a kangaroo. She lay sideways on the floor while spinning in circles. She pulled her right leg while still lying on her side, in a movement similar to a stretch before a volleyball game. Videos of her performances quickly spread on social media and became the subject of ridicule. She failed to score a single point in her battles against Logistex from the USA, Sissy from France, and Nika from Lithuania, losing 18-0 on each occasion. It is fair to say that the subsequent comments on the internet were not entirely polite about Raygun's performances. In the Olympic breakdance event, competitors face off in direct duels, known as battles, against an opponent. There are 2 rounds in each contest. In each round, 9 judges decide who, in their view, was the better competitor. Raygun competed against 3 rivals, so there were 6 rounds and 54 judge evaluations. All 54 gave the advantage to her opponents. A user on X called her routines hilariously ridiculous, while another questioned how she had made it so far. Even singer Adele took a moment from her show in Munich to question if the whole thing was a joke, adding that it was the best thing that happened at the Olympics.
I think it's the best thing that's happened in the Olympics the entire time. Did anyone see the breakdancing lady?
Rachel Gunn is a woman with 2 careers. In addition to being a dancer, she's a professor at Macquarie University in her home country. Raygun has a PhD in cultural studies and a bachelor's degree in contemporary music, both from Macquarie, which is ranked among the top 200 universities in the world. Her primary research focus is on female breakdance. More specifically, the reflection of gender norms on the practice of breakdancing. On the Google Scholar platform, which catalogs academic production worldwide, Dr. Rachel Gunn's most influential article, with 15 citations, displays a familiar style for someone ready for a faculty position in the anthropology department at USP. Don't worry, it's just a girl, negotiating and challenging gender assumptions in Sydney's breakdance scene. But Raygun is completely serious. A speaker at Macquarie University in Sydney, her research interests include breakdance, street dance, and hip-hop culture, with her doctoral thesis focusing on the intersection of gender and the breaking culture in Sydney. The work is an autoethnography in which she analyzes how potential is culturally regulated in Sydney's breakdance scene. In other words, she recounts her own experience as a female breakdancer. Other articles authored by her have a similar approach. One of them is titled, "Re-articulating Gender Norms Through Breakdance." Rachel Gunn has stated that she intends to challenge the criteria for what constitutes a successful breakdance performance, an arena that, according to her, is permeated by sexism. It's fair to acknowledge Raygun's experience. Although it may not seem so, participating in the Olympics was not her first experience at a major event. The Olympic athlete also competed in the World Championship in 2021, 2022, and 2023 as a representative of Australia. The results were similar. In her first appearance, Rachel Gunn finished in 42nd place out of 78 competitors. In 2022, she ranked 73rd out of 114. In 2023, she placed 64th in a competition with 80 women. On all 3 occasions, she finished ahead of the other Australians present at the World Championship. Many people defended the Australians' performances as unique and creative, despite not necessarily being rewarded with high scores by the judges. It's all about originality, and it's all about bringing something new to the game and representing your country or region, said Martin Gillian, the head judge of breaking at the Olympics, also known as MGbility. That's exactly what Raygun was doing. She drew inspiration from her surroundings, which in this case, for example, was a kangaroo. She created some original moves that might be funny or entertaining to others, but for us, she basically represented breaking and hip-hop. She was trying to be original and bring something new. From our perspective, it wasn't really shocking. Sergei Nifantov, Secretary General of the World Dance Sport Federation, said he was worried about the response on social media, adding, "This shouldn't happen in our world.
That should not happen in our world.
Something is going in the wrong direction." Gunn started breakdancing competitively in her early 20s, having grown up practicing other forms of dance, including ballroom, jazz, tap, and hip-hop. She was up against B-girls about half her age in Paris, explaining how it was an amazing experience and a privilege to have this opportunity. Raygun's story would be just a curious chapter of the Olympics if not for one detail. There are suspicions that the Australian competitor manipulated the selection process to represent her country in the Games. A petition demanding an apology from her garnered 40,000 signatures before being taken down on the grounds that it contained false information. The page alleged that Rachel had used her influence in the restricted Australian breakdance world to secure a spot in the Olympics. On Wednesday, 14, the Australian Olympic Committee issued a statement ensuring that the selection process to represent the country in the breakdance competition at the Olympics was transparent and independent. The entity also stated that the qualification event, held last October, had the participation of judges from the World Dance Sport Federation, WDSF. In a video posted on her Instagram page, Raygun said she had been the target of unfounded attacks. She thanked her supporters and mentioned receiving hate messages. "I'm happy to have brought some joy into your lives. That's what I hoped for. I didn't realize it would also open the door to so much hatred, which frankly is devastating," said the competitor, who claimed to have given her all during the Olympics. This was evident based on her arrival at the closing ceremony on Sunday, where she received substantial support from teammates and supporters during an impromptu street performance. If you don't know Rachel's story, in 2008, she was locked in a room crying about being involved in a male-dominated sport as the only woman, and it took a lot of courage for her to continue and fight for her chance to participate in a sport she loved, said Anna Mears.
2008, she was locked in a room crying, being involved in a male-dominated sport as the only woman, and it took great courage for her to continue on and fight for her opportunity to participate in a sport that she loved.
Former professional cyclist and head of the Australian mission, to reporters. This led her to win the Olympic qualification event to be here in Paris. She is the best female breakdancer we have in Australia. She represented the Olympic team, the Olympic spirit, with great enthusiasm, and I absolutely love her courage. I love her character, and I am very disappointed that she suffered the attacks she did.
I love her character, and I feel very disappointed for her that she has come under the attack that she has.
Startling new details have emerged about how Raygun was able to qualify for the Paris Olympics. Conspiracy theories that Raygun reached the qualification process have been disproven. But fellow breakdancer Leah Clark has now revealed new details about how and why the selection pool was so shallow. Clark told The Guardian Australia that Raygun qualified fair and square, but suggested she wasn't competing against the best breakers the country has to offer. According to Clark, the Oceania qualifying event took place too soon after it was advertised, meaning some breakers didn't even know it was happening, claiming there wasn't even enough B-girls to fill the top 16. Clark also revealed breakers wanting to take part in qualifying had to register with 3 different organizations just to try out, and they also had to have a valid international passport. That meant a number of breakers weren't willing or able to fork out the money, with no guarantee they'd be heading to Paris. Clark added that the fallout from Raygun's performance has really affected her and other breakdancers. "How do I go to work now and try to get our sponsorship and get our grant money for breaking programs for a sport that's just been made a mockery of?" asked Leah Clark. "And how do we go and represent our country at world-level events when Australia's been made a fool of? This is actually affecting us on a much larger scale than just memes," claimed Clark. Breakdance emerged from the streets of New York City in the 1970s. And has since grown in popularity in the US and around the world. It began as a form of creative expression among Black and Latino youth, and is considered one of the main elements of hip-hop, along with rap, DJing, and graffiti. Although many do not see breaking strictly as a sport, but as an artistic expression, the International Olympic Committee, IOC, was seeking ways to attract younger audiences to the Games by adding skateboarding, sport climbing, and surfing to the Olympic program. However, was Raygun fraudulent Fiasco part of this doubtful Olympic discipline return? Was this circus played by Raygun and her accomplices fair to the world breakdance community? What do you think about it?